Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry, I have a new microphone, and it's time at last to play some Pathfinder on the computer. Now, for those of you not as familiar with Pathfinder, I'll give you a little history lesson. Basically, we had Dungeons and Dragons, the white box, white leaflet. Then we had purple box, the great one that loads of people loved. Then we had red box, the one that even more people came to grow and love. Then we had advanced D&D, which became advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Then we had AD&D 2nd edition. Then 3rd edition came along. And then eventually 4th edition was announced. And 4th edition went in a rather different direction to its precursors. It didn't feel like the same game. It felt like World of Warcraft or some computer game where the class mechanics for every class were the same and basically everyone was a wizard. You know, your fighters' special abilities, they acted like spells. Your rangers' special abilities, they were exactly like the wizard spells. Everything was the same and it just took the fun out of it. So, a group of players decided they would like to head off in their own direction. They would like to forge ahead and create the game that 4th edition should have been, and that game became known as Pathfinder. Since then, of course, 5th edition has come out. Pathfinder's still going strong, though. 4th edition, not so much, although it was popular with its own players, you know. So, finally, a Pathfinder computer game has been made. Technically, there was a previous Pathfinder computer game for the Pathfinder card game, the Pathfinder Adventure card game or something I think it's called, I can't remember exactly. But this is the first one, and they chose to use the Kingmaker campaign or adventure path. Now, one thing that Paizo settled upon when they created Pathfinder was the adventure path model, where they would publish a campaign every 6 months, instead of publishing like sporadic, barely connected adventures and source books. They would put out a campaign, put out some source books relating to it, things like that, and go, okay guys, look, here's a big campaign you can all play with the new things that are coming out in these books, and these books support that. You know, it's all very integrated, and that was very good. Personally, I feel that the Kingmaker Adventure Path wasn't the best choice. There are others I would have enjoyed playing more, but I can see why they've done it. Anyway, let's dive into character creation. I've kind of waffled on for long enough now, and begin a new game. Alright, select a difficulty. Critical hits. Normal. Absolutely. Death's Door. So I'm going to try and make this as close to the tabletop rules as possible. Which probably means the monsters should be really weak and easy, but anyway. Death's Door will not die after suffering a deadly injury when instead receive a Death's Door condition if they suffer a deadly injury while live it. If your main character dies, it's day over. We'll keep this. Dead companions rise after combat. No, they're dead. The key word is dead here, you know. Remove negative effects on rest. Blindness, ability damage. Well, technically ability damage should regenerate slowly over multiple rests. Removing them all immediately? No. Auto level up? Hell no, I want to do this personally. I'm relatively familiar with the Pathfinder rules, been playing them for like, how many rules now? You know, since the, let's see. Since Council of Thieves came out, so like 7 or 8 years maybe. Enemy stat adjustments. Adjust the difficulty class of all rolls in the game and the abilities of enemies. I'd like to have this somewhat easier enemies. Normal enemies. Now, I've heard a lot of reports that the enemies in this game are beefed up and very tough, and a lot of people have been complaining about the difficulty. So I should be careful about this. I'm aware that this may be what many would consider playing on hard mode. And my computer is being rather annoying. Sorry about that. A big pop-up comes up, covers up that corner of the screen. every sort of 10 or 20 minutes. Courtesy of Windows 10 deciding to partition my hard drives without my permission. Danger to party. This option determines how much damage. Full damage. No more, no less. Enemy, party speed depends on what they're carrying. Absolutely, yes. Kingdom management. Affects the difficulty of kingdom management. Now, I don't like the kingdom management aspect of this adventure path, because the way it was implemented for the tabletop was a bit clunky and a lot of players didn't like it. Automatic? No. Easy, normal. Well, because I don't have much indication of what these are, I'm just going to leave it on normal. Only active companions receive experience. It would be very nice to say yes. However, if the party makeup changes during the course of the adventure, someone could end up being severely underleveled for the task. Now, does this mean that companions who are out of the party and not actively in it will receive a full share, or that they'll get some to help them stay a relevant level? Might actually be very tempted to turn this on, because in my experience I tend to pick the party members I want and form a good close-knit group of friends and hold on to them for pretty much the whole game. I'm not one of those people who will change out the party formation too often. Maybe I should turn this on, but for now I won't. Only skill users receive skill check experience. No, that experience award should be split among the party. Last Aslanti mode. So the Aslanti were an ancient culture of people, basically the Atlanteans. You'll find this a lot with like Thessalonians and stuff like that with Pathfinder lore. A Golarion, the world of Pathfinder, is very much inspired by the ancient world and the sort of Mediterranean region around it, the big Mediterranean Ocean with lands around the edge. The Aslanti, very few of them remain, and very few pure-blood Aslantes. Most of them have been diluted over years to be just like vaguely related to the Aslanti. This is basically your Iron Man mode, your last man standing, this is my save, and if I die it's game over. I'm not going to select this because I have heard there are a number of bugs and the game has received quite a few patches already in the few days while I was getting a replacement microphone for my dead one. So purely in case things get buggy or a save file gets accidentally deleted or something, I'm not going to select this. Immersive mode. Disables almost all interface hints and combat lines of attack. No, I want to see the numbers. I want to see what's been going on. One of the main things about D20 games is understanding, comprehension, understanding the odds and managing. Show tutorial. Yes, it's my first time playing the game. I mean, I'm getting very much an Infinity Engine kind of vibe here, sort of Baldur's Gate. Neverwinter Nights was almost Infinity Engine. A little bit of Evil Islands, actually, from the way they've handled the graphics and the combat. But then again, they are Russian developers, and Evil Islands was Russian as well, so I suppose that makes sense. So I'll keep the tutorial on. Right, select a character. We have a number of pre-generated characters and the ability to create a custom one, which is what I will probably do. We have Hedwig, the fighter, Melaku, the paladin, Vailene, the ranger, Gima, the bright, a human sorcerer, and Yadmila, the cleric. However, I'm going to make one of my own. I am now faced with a portrait selection menu. Let's have a look through these. But before we do, something a lot of people miss is we do have the option, this tiny little button here, which is easy to miss, of adding custom portraits. And I have imported a number of custom portraits. There's that annoying pop-up again. Go away. Unfortunately, clicking on it shrinks everything down. I hate it with a passion. I wish there was a way to fix it. There's a way to hide it, but hiding it isn't fixing the problem, it's hiding the problem, and I wish Microsoft would just get on and fix this problem they created a few months ago, because it's very annoying. So here we would have a great tower shield specialist. I mean, look at that shield. That is a mighty bulwark of protection. And she's got 1, 2, 3 swords, a long dagger. We got an armoured woman here, rather recognisable. So I've made an effort here to seek out images that are of good quality, but also fairly close to the Pathfinder art style, so they will not stand out too much in game. This would obviously be an Inquisitor. If you know the Inquisitor class, you know exactly what I mean. We have this woman here. Obviously a mixed woman, sort of Chelish, Varisian, half-caste. Lovely dwarven woman here with impressive sideburns. Woman in what could only be described as almost armour, or patriotic armour, or something like that. And a really awesome dwarf portrait here that I would quite like to use. However, let's go back and look at the default portraits. One moment. So we have our pre-generated fighter, Tian woman, who was originally one of the pre-gens, I believe, a swashbuckler, a dwarven woman with a crossbow, a balloon-headed freak with the sides of her head shaved, some kind of angry half-orc woman with dreadlocks. Well, not all dreadlocks. Kind of spellcaster fellow. I think he's one of the companions. Some kind of vampiric, almost undead woman with ridiculously pointy ears and very nasty fingernails. I'm going to presume that's an Azamar, a heaven-sent half-angel, with very... I don't like it when the hair is lighter than the skin. It just feels very unnatural. You know, the hair should generally be darker than the skin, otherwise it looks just very, very wrong and awkward. I know some people like the whole pint of Guinness thing with drow with black hair, or black skin and white hair, and it just looks daft to me. I quite like this one. This woman, she might be a druid or some kind of sorceress. This is characterful. I may use this in future. We have another dwarven woman with a crossbow. There's 2 dwarven women with crossbows. I think the developers are trying to tell us something here. I mean, she could almost be a gnome or hobbit, but she's basically a dwarf. Look, the feet aren't big enough. We got a rather stoic-looking individual stalking through the forests, observing dispassionately. Now, this is more like it, a true dwarven hero. I might actually use this one. I like it. It's full of character. And you see the nice mountains in the background and the wilderness that he's wandering through. I don't like this weird diamond-shaped shield. That looks silly. And this helmet, this massive angular helmet, looks pretty daft. But I'll come back to that, because I've got some more thoughts on that later on. Another balloon-headed individual with a lot of writing on their face. And they seem to have a major chip on their shoulder about something. Here's another one of our pre-generated characters, and here is another one. That's almost blue skin. That is definitely blue hair. That is very, very wrong. That is not natural. That is a freakish monstrosity that should not be allowed in our campaign. Here we have another Azamar. Possibly a worshipper of Shellin. We have the bird symbol here and the glaive. I can see that as a Shellinite. Half-orc assassin. Fug. Gonna mug you. Gonna jump out, knife you. Give us all your money. There's the ranger pregen. And the sorcerer. This looks like some kind of Chelish diplomat. Cheliax is a nation of people who worship demons and devils. They didn't like the way their kingdom was going downhill. And at one point, a devil turned up and said, "Here, why don't you just sign this contract, and I'll make sure your country is respected and powerful once again." So they signed over the government of their country to devils. And they officially worship the devils. And they are a bunch of sleazy, manipulative rule players, the kind of lawyer types, the kinds who will argue not because they're in the right, but because they think they can get away with it. We have some kind of sorceress individual here. Summoning a spell. I like it. This woman is an NPC in the game, so I'm not going to choose this portrait. This woman, I don't know. She's got a breastplate with... I can't remember what those 5 plates are called. There's a particular... something like... Eschatrons or something. I can't remember. She's got a scimitar. Looks like she means business. Is there a few scars? I think it is. No. Just no. When it comes... Right, so Paizo have decided their gnomes have to look like freakish, bright hair-coloured monsters from World of Warcraft, and I strongly disagree with them. It just doesn't feel right. It's wrong. Now, the deal with this is that the gnomes like to be colourful and expressive and exciteful, and if they ever lose that spark, that urge, they start to go grey, and the joy and the love of life seeps out of them, and they kind of go hollow and lose their excitement and wander off into the wilderness and are never seen again. See, back in the old days, gnomes and dwarfs were related, right? If you wanted to play a little person who was tough, you played a dwarf. If you wanted to play a little person who was kind of magical and not so tough, you played a gnome. And then someone decided that gnomes should be much more... around 3rd edition, it was decided that gnomes should be much more related to hobbits than to dwarfs. Even though that made no sense, because, folklore and everything. And then the gnomes were also apparently supposed to be related to fairies and very magical, just because they used to have some magical abilities and be the kind of magical short people knew. And then Paizo went even further with the magical fairy gnome thing, and they look like those ghastly haired plastic troll dolls that you used to be able to buy at a petrol station in the 1990s. And no gnome in one of my games should look like that. It's just hideous. This fellow, he looks like he's got breeding, he's got class, but he's also got a look of disdain upon his face. Look at that sneer. He's better than you. He's better than you, and he knows it. Bit too arrogant for my liking. This fellow, I believe, is also an NPC in the game, so I'm not going to mess with this portrait. Same goes for this one. And this one. Don't know about this old chap. So I'm going to go with my custom portrait choice, because I have a fairly good idea which kind of character I wish to play. And I'm going to go with this one. Oh, yes. So here we have our different races. We have men and women. Obviously, this is a dwarven portrait, and we will play a dwarf. So, we have humans who are... I'm pretty sure most of you can relate to what a human is, okay? And if you can't, you might have problems that need help. We have the elven folk. You know, the forest-dwelling individuals who are closely in touch with nature, despite those freakish ears and the lack of beards. It's like, how can someone so natural not be able to grow a beard? That's just wrong. You know, you want them to look like some kind of wild thing from out in the woods. Dwarfs are your stoic underground miners, stonemasons, solid, down to earth, no nonsense. Gnomes, no, just no, that is wrong, that is so very wrong. Halflings are basically hobbits, but Rohirrim called them halflings, which is the name humans use for them, plus it's not as copyright protected. Half-elves. So actually we do have half-elves in folklore. There are a few of them in Celtic folklore, not many. There's like Oisin the Bard, who went away to Fairyland and came back and was a remarkable... You know, there's like 3 or 4. Half-orc is quite an unpleasant background, really. It generally means that at some point in the past, one of your parents raped the other one, and you've grown up without a family, or... Yeah, this is kind of like the Frankenstein's monster background. The outcast, the monster. And then we have the Azamar. Oh my god, that skin is really dark. And it can't go much brighter, really. This is like only dark-skinned people are allowed to be saintly or divine or something. And these hair colours are just like, what the hell is going on here? You know. So obviously we're going to play a dwarf, right? Body type. Skinny dwarf? No, no, no. But do we want really chunky dwarf? Ooh, I don't know. I mean, he's going to get involved in some dangerous stuff, but I don't think we quite want to make him that tubby. Okay. Let's have a... We can't zoom in here, unfortunately, but that's because most of the games can be played zoomed out at quite a distance. Ooh, that is a grumpy-looking face. Look at those angry eyebrows. That's a bit bland. Okay, that's less angry. But look, he's wearing hardships on his troubled brow. Yes. We'll go with that. Obviously, we don't want him to be a skinhead. That would just be stupid. I quite like this hairstyle, and obviously, it's fairly close to the portrait. However, there we got the nearly skinhead. This one's quite close as well, but the way it's pulled back behind the ears just looks a bit too silly. If you want to play like a troll slayer, there you go. There's your great big Mohican with a little ponytail at the back for some reason, very Mad Max. And then here's a more... This is for people who watched the Vikings TV series and believe this hairstyle is actually historically accurate. Here's a little hint. It's not. Okay, so... This one is actually quite low at the temples on the sides. Almost as if his hairline's receding a bit and he's got like a massive comb over. And this one, it's got more bulk on top. However, there's a big problem. We can have sort of browny hair. We can have black hair. We can have insanely ginger hair. We can have light grey and dark grey hair. And as you can see, this is kind of blondish, light brown. Where are my other hair colour options? Why are there no blonde dwarfs? Why are there so many ginger dwarfs? It's wrong. It's like World of Warcraft, where you go to create a character and 2/3 of the hair colour option are some shade of red. Whatever race you play, it's just wrong. Now, I like this. We can play a right-handed character or a left-handed character. I hear that the character plays right-handed whichever one you select, and you're only selecting the dominant foot or something. I don't know. But I've always liked the idea of being a left-handed person. When I was a child, I wanted to be left-handed. I envied left-handed people. We shall make this dwarf left-handed, and if he ends up playing right-handed, then obviously there's something wrong with the game. Right, character class. Looking at the time, I don't want to go for too long here. We have Alchemist. Alchemist basically throws bombs. We have Barbarian. Barbarian is a psychopathic... Wait. Back. I did not look at the beard options. I am so very sorry. I should do that now. Here we're talking very much Oghren from Dragon Age Origins. Oghren from Dragon Age Origins more, but with a ridiculous French cartoony moustache. This one kind of works quite nicely, but the way that it just goes in here at the sides is weird. And then, no self-respecting dwarf would look like that. I'm going to go with this one. I like this. It's got character, it's got style. And actually, if we look at the... I mean, he'll often be wearing a helmet anyway, but... No! Ha 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 ha! Yes! That's what a dwarven hero should look like. No, character class. So, a bard is less of a minstrel, more of a party support role. Cleric is your priest. Druid is your natural character. Fighter is your frontline warrior type. Inquisitor basically is a witcher. Seriously, the Inquisitor class features, it's the specialised monster hunter. The one who's like, whatever that monster is, I'll take it down. If you basically imagine the spellcasting portion of the Inquisitor to be the potions that a witcher drinks, it plays exactly like a witcher. Also, the Inquisitor is the class for the player who can't remember what's on their character sheet, because the Inquisitor has the ability to change abilities on the fly mid-combat. So basically, if a player playing an Inquisitor says, oh yeah, I've got this ability, the GM can't exactly say, well, have you really? Because it's like, yeah, I just swapped out that one for it right now. It's like, okay. Magus is basically the old elf class from the olden days, when races were classes. So dwarves were basically a fighter, halflings were basically a hybrid fighter thief, and the elf was a hybrid fighter magic user. They could use weapons, they could wear armor, they could cast spells, but if they were wearing armor they couldn't cast spells. So they kind of had the best of everything, and because of that they took longer to level up. They needed more experience points because they had more class features. Plus they could see in the dark, they got +1 hit with bows, and it was just ridiculous. I don't like the Magus, and I don't like the way it works in Pathfinder. It's just not for me. Monk, this isn't your traditional monastic character, this is more of a martial arts Bruce Lee kind of character. Paladin, the Crusader, honourable, righteous. We have a ranger, one who travels around in the wilderness. I do like that hood. Rogue, a scoundrel, a knavish individual. Sorcerer. Sorcerers are one-trick ponies who don't understand how to be wizards. They can't be bothered to learn their magic, and they're just kind of idiots who can sort of do a few spells they've managed to master, but that's about it. Wizards, on the other hand, know what they're doing. They're proper, they're professional, they're just better. Sorcerers are numpties. Not that I'm, like, biased or anything, you know. And then we have some prestige classes here, which we can work towards later on. I'm going to go Paladin. I know what I'm doing. I'm recreating Keldrak Morden, Dwarven Paladin of Torag. It's going to be awesome. We have archetypes. We have Divine Hunter, stays at the back shooting arrows. We have the Hospitaller, who's a very healing-focused Paladin. Then we have the Divine Guardian, who gains no spells, but is like a bodyguard and is like, I'm going to protect you. Now, the Divine Guardian devotes himself to the concerns of the interior word, assuring that does not gain access to divine spellcasting. I'm going to go no... Right, so these are archetypes of each class. An archetype is like a kit from 2nd edition. You apply it to a class and you're just changing, replacing some class features, you play a slightly different character. I'm going to go no archetype this time. This table would give me lots of information, but I have played a lot of Pathfinder, so I'm going to, like a fool, presume I know what I'm doing and click the next button. I don't know why they put a build... They've given me a 25-point buy. That is insane. Right, so a Paladin needs Charisma, which Dwarves do not have in great quantity. So I'm going to push this up to a 14 because that is quite a lot of points. We're going to want a bit of Wisdom. We're going to want 13 Dexterity in case we want to go Stalwart Defender later on. Go up to about a 14 Strength, about a 16 Constitution. And then I could push Wisdom to a 14, or I can knock it down to a 12, get Intelligence 12 as well for intelligence-related things. And that is a reasonably good point spread. I like this. Now, skill points. Law, religion. I'm playing a religious character. If I did not put a point in this, I would be a fool. Persuasion. Again, this game will involve governing and ruling. I don't want to be a terrible ruler. Perception is the most overused skill in the game. it's extremely useful for noticing dangerous things. Obviously this is not the full list of skills, this is trimmed down for the computer game. And for my last skill point, I'm going to put it in athletics, not to make the character very acrobatic, but to climb over things, jump and stuff, because he's only little and he's going to have to get over obstacles. There we go. And now we can have some feats. Obviously, Paladin of Torag. Torag is the god of honour, justice, solid, good old-fashioned dwarven values, and beating the shit out of orcs and goblins and ogres and trolls and stuff wherever you find them. Literally, the Paladin code of Torag is like, I will offer no quarter to my foes, to the ancient foes of my people. I will not even accept their surrender unless it is to question a prisoner and find out where even more of them are hiding. You know, it's very hardline. So we are not going to be letting many half-orcs or goblins live in our kingdom. And especially not take seat on the government. A feat. Right, there's plenty here. Again, I know roughly what I'm doing. Die Hard. Why does Die Hard require orc ferocity? Die Hard should not require orc ferocity. Die Hard should require endurance. It's wrong. And yet I can still select it. That is weird. I wonder if the requirement in green means it's a soft requirement or something. And basically we want endurance, die hard, dodge, and toughness. And that will take us up to 1, 3, 5, 7, level 7. Maybe even Great Fortitude as well, or Iron Will. I'm going to go with endurance for now because this adventure will involve lots of trundling around in the countryside. And finally, of course, a name. Kelderak Morden. Good, solid dwarven name. Alignment, lawful good. We're playing a paladin. That is the alignment it must be. And we'll give him a birthday. And he shall be born on the 10th of Rova, the month of Rovagug. Why? Most of you all know why. Right, and then we have voice selection. Now, after watching some of the trailers for this computer game, I know I backed it on Kickstarter, and when I watched some of the more recent trailers, I was amazed to find out that Golarion, the remarkably progressive, multinational, diverse world that it is world of American accents, where you can have like people from Assyrian or Kadira or the realm of the Mammoth Lords, and they all just have American accents. Like we're talking like really strong American accents, as in new XCOM level of bad, or Guild Wars 2, where everyone is so American it's unbelievable and painful to listen to. So I'm sorry to my listeners, but this will be World of American Accents, and everyone will sound American. So let's have a listen to them.
I'll take care of it.
Ooh, I don't know.
So many thoughts, so little time.
Doesn't sound honourable enough.
Strike as one. I have no need for this. I shall not falter.
I must sound soft and American.
We cannot be defeated. Forwards! I won't give up.
It'll be good for rallying the troops. That
Defeat
one's more
is not an option.
humble.
Everyone counts on me. Let us bide our time.
All this waiting bores me. None shall escape!
I'm kind of liking this one.
My wounds pile on. Spell's not working like that. Let's hear you cry!
That could be quite fun for a ruler. However, he doesn't quite sound restrained and honourable enough.
I didn't even break a sweat. Time's not waiting.
And apparently, if I want, I can give him a woman's voice.
A trivial task.
The road calls me.
I do not find this to be useful.
just in case I wanted to play some kind of weird transgender sexual helicopter pony thing. That might be for a rather different kind of playthrough. Alright.
You're done for. This is my path. Adventures await.
Are these all by Matt Mercer? It's starting to sound a little bit like it.
Let us press on. Together we stand. Strike as one.
This one just sounds a little bit too much like he's got a throat full of thick cotton wool that he's choking on.
Let us be off. We cannot be defeated. I won't give up. Forwards! This is my path. Adventures await. You're done for.
Is Praetorian brave and aggressive?
I am superior!
And I just
All
feel...
this waiting bores me.
I just feel that the aggressive one has more personality to it, more emotional oomph. But I also think he's going to go through the entire game calling everyone BOY! All the time, over and over again.
None shall escape! My wounds pile on.
And he does sound like he has problems keeping his temper, so we'll go with the brave one.
Let us be off.
And now, I'm going to click the next button, but actually I'm going to end the episode here, because otherwise it will be massive and take forever to upload. So this will just be the character creation episode, proper episode 1, beginning of the adventure will be the next one. I hope you've all enjoyed this beginning of our foray into the world of Golarion together, and I'll look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. I'll say bye-bye for now, and cheerio!